If you think your life is complicated, just wait until you meet Mama Oby, a widow who wakes up one morning to find that society has written her entire script, and she's expected to play the part of a helpless victim. Spoiler alert, she doesn't. Instead, she rolls up her sleeves, defies centuries of tradition, wrestles with male dominance, raises 5 children on her own, and still has time to throw in a few dramatic courtroom-level showdowns. And if that's not enough chaos, her daughter, Oby, is out there balancing university life, romance, betrayal, academic scandals, and a pregnancy scare, all while the echoes of a deadly civil war still shape every decision. This is not your average family drama. This is a roller coaster ride through love, loss, tradition, ambition, betrayal, and resilience. And it all begins with a war that changes everything. Our story opens during one of the darkest periods in African history, the Nigerian Civil War, also known as the Biafran War, from 1967 to 1970. It's a brutal conflict that takes the lives of millions and leaves millions more starving. And in the midst of all this devastation, we meet Mama Oby, a widow who's just lost her husband to the war. Life does not pause to give her time to grieve. With 5 mouths to feed and no man around, Mama Oby quickly learns that in a patriarchal society, a woman without a husband is considered less than complete. But rather than crumble under the weight of tradition and male dominance, she becomes the man. She takes on the roles of breadwinner, protector, and provider, skating along the unfriendly waters of societal expectations while fiercely protecting her family's dignity. This is part 1. A widow's might, and believe me, Mama Oby has plenty of it. As the dust of war settles and the family attempts to rebuild their lives in the countryside of Ogbu, Mama Oby's daughter Oby is ready to chase her own dreams. And so begins part 2, searching for the Golden Fleece. The Golden Fleece is a nod to Greek mythology, a legendary treasure that heroes risk everything to find. In this case, Oby herself is the prize, and the suitors are ready to compete. Oby joins the University of Embakasi, eager to carve out a future beyond the limitations of her rural upbringing. But university life is a jungle of its own, full of lectures, new experiences, and of course, love interests. That's where she meets Chike, a charming final-year economics student who immediately decides she's the one, and he doesn't hide it. From helping her settle into writing heartfelt poems, Chike makes it his mission to win Oby's heart. Their romance blossoms with beach walks and moonlit conversations, the kind of thing that makes you forget exams exist. But love is never that simple, especially not in a world still obsessed with tradition. Back in Ogbu, Chief Ugwueze, a wealthy elder, has his own plans for Oby. He wants her to marry his son Ndubisi, who's living in the United States. He even approaches Pa Okolo, the family head, to broker the deal. For Pa Okolo, this marriage is more than a match. It's his ticket into the Council of Elders. But Mama Oby, ever the rebel, shuts the whole thing down. Her daughter's independence matters more than tradition. And besides, she's not about to let her daughter marry into the family of an outcast. Oby herself is unbothered. She's perfectly happy with Cheek. But this is just the calm before the storm. Welcome to part 3. Is this love? Where things get complicated. Chike and his friend Okoro are away from campus, and in their absence, Chris, another friend, starts making moves on Oby. Unfortunately for him, Oby's not interested. She ignores his advances, but this messy love triangle is only just beginning. When Chike returns, everything seems back to normal. The couple celebrates Okoro's birthday with friends at Hotel Metropole and even survive a bumpy taxi ride home. But beneath the surface, cracks are forming. During a candid conversation, Oby questions Chike about his mysterious nickname, Mr. B. His honesty wins her trust, for now. The big moment arrives when Chaik is sworn in as president of the Economic Students Association. It's a proud day, full of prestige and promise. But there's trouble brewing. Chris's behavior toward Oby becomes inappropriate and alarming, and it's a red flag Oby can't ignore. Then the unthinkable happens. At the after-party, Chiki drinks too much, and so does Oby. Their evening spirals out of control, and in her drunken state, Oby ends up losing her virginity to him. It's a pivotal and painful moment that sets the tone for everything that follows. In Part 4, Tradition and Ambition, the fallout begins. The academic year ends, and Oby heads home for the holidays. Pa Okolo, still bitter about Mama Oby rejecting the chief's marriage proposal, pays a visit to Ugwuizi. Together, they start plotting revenge. And their plan? Well, it's to hit Mama Oby where it hurts the most. They rope in Uncle Ben to do the dirty work. Using the chaos of the New Yam Festival and the traditional Akatakpa masquerade, Uncle Ben disguises himself and sets fire to Mama Oby's shop. It's a cruel act, meant to humiliate and punish her. But Mama Oby's family isn't backing down, not one bit. Oby reports Uncle Ben to the police, and he's arrested. Of course, the chief tries to bribe his way out of the mess, but justice prevails. Uncle Ben is rearrested and sentenced to a year in prison. The scandal forces the chief to flee all the way to Lagos, and Pa Okolo, overwhelmed by shame and disgrace, tragically takes his own life. Finally, we arrive at Part 5, The Moon Finally Sets. And, well, this is where everything comes crashing down. Oby is now in her second year, and Cheek and his friends are just about to graduate. But life at Embakasi is anything but peaceful. Oby's sociology professor, Professor Akpanu, is known as a notorious womanizer. What starts as a seemingly innocent encounter, just sharing an umbrella in the rain, soon turns into unwanted advances. Meanwhile, the student newspaper, The Bee, is gearing up to publish a scandalous story about Oby and Cheek's drunken night. Okoro tries to stop it by stealing the master copy. But honestly, the plan just falls apart. The story gets published, and Oby is humiliated. In the middle of all this chaos, she's still dealing with Professor Akpanu's harassment. But this time, she's ready. Inspired by Chris, who surprisingly shows real concern, Oby confronts the professor and humiliates him publicly. It's a powerful moment, but her challenges are far from over. Then comes the biggest blow of all. Oby finds out she's pregnant. Chaik panics and refuses to take responsibility. He's just not ready for marriage, not now, not like this. In desperation, he and Okoro come up with a plan to terminate the pregnancy. Late one night, Oby's roommates sneak her into a doctor's clinic for an abortion, but the plan fails spectacularly. Chiki is arrested for attempting to procure an illegal abortion, and, just like that, their love story ends in ruins.
What the? That's horrible!
And that, my friends, is the turbulent, heartbreaking, yet deeply human story of The Moon Also Sets by Osita Ogbu, a powerful novel that shines a light on the resilience of women, the cruelty of tradition, and the complex dance between love, ambition, and identity in a rapidly changing African society. What I love most about this book is how it captures the realities of life, not the fairy tale endings or the Hollywood romances, but the messy, complicated, often painful experiences that shape who we become. At its heart, this is a story about resilience. Mama Oby is the embodiment of strength, a woman who refuses to be defined by her widowhood or limited by patriarchal traditions. Through her, the novel explores the crushing weight of societal expectations and the quiet, often invisible battles women fight every day. It's also a story about modernity versus tradition. Oby's life is a balancing act between two worlds, the conservative customs of her village and the progressive, challenging environment of the university. The clash between these worlds creates friction, but it's in that tension that Oby truly comes into her own. Another major theme is the cost of ambition. Every character in this story wants something: power, status, love, independence. But achieving those dreams often comes with devastating consequences. From Chiki's downfall to Pa Okolo's suicide, the novel doesn't shy away from showing us that ambition without integrity can destroy lives. And of course, the book delves deeply into gender and power, from Mama Oby's defiance of male authority to Oby's confrontation with sexual harassment, abortion, and societal judgment. These are heavy topics, but they're handled with honesty and depth, making the novel both socially relevant and emotionally impactful. Osita Ogbu is a Nigerian writer whose work explores the complexities of modern African society, from the lingering effects of colonialism and war to the intricate dynamics of gender, class, and tradition. He writes with a sharp eye for social detail and a deep empathy for the struggles of ordinary people, especially women. Through his storytelling, Ogbu gives a voice to those often silenced by culture and history. And The Moon Also Sets stands as one of his most compelling examinations of post-war Nigeria. The Moon Also Sets is not a fairy tale. It's a mirror, one that reflects the harsh realities of life, love, and survival in a society still healing from war and wrestling with modernity. It's uncomfortable, it's heartbreaking, and at times it's even infuriating, but that's what makes it worth reading. If you've ever wondered how far someone will go to reclaim their destiny in a world determined to write it for them, this novel is your answer. Hey, thanks so much for hanging out with me today. If you're interested in diving deeper into this book, I've left some links down in the description. You can use it to grab yourself a copy and keep the adventure going. And if you're in the mood for more great reads, don't go just yet. Click on one of the videos popping up right now that I think you'll love. And don't forget to give this review a like, leave a comment, or even subscribe if you'd like to see more. Every bit of support helps us grow this little community of book lovers. See you in the next one.